Ladies and gentlemen, good day and welcome to Just Dial Limited Q1 FY22 earnings call. As a reminder, all participant lines will be in the listen-only mode, and there will be an opportunity for you to ask questions after the presentation concludes. Should you need assistance during the conference call, please signal an operator by pressing star then zero on your touchtone phone. Please note that this conference is being recorded. I now hand the conference over to Mr. Rishit Parekh from Nomura Financial Advisory and Securities. Thank you, and over to you, sir.
Thank you, Malika. On behalf of Nomura, I would like to welcome you all to Just Dial's 1Q FY22 earnings call. We have with us the CFO of the company, Mr. Abhishek Bansal. Unfortunately, due to exigencies, we couldn't have Mr. VSS Mani on the line today. Without further delay, I would now like to hand over the call to the management. Over to you, Abhishek.
Thanks, Rishit. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Just Dial's earnings call for first quarter of fiscal 22. Before we discuss quarterly results, I shall share a quick update on our strategic partnership with Reliance. Reliance Retail Ventures Limited, Just Dial, and the promoters have entered into definite agreements under which, firstly, Reliance shall acquire 25.33% stake in the company via new shares that will be issued through a preferential allotment for total about 2,165 crores. Secondly, Reliance shall also acquire secondary stake from Mr. VSS Mani for about 1,332 crores, which would be equivalent to 15.62% on post-preferential share capital. The above acquisitions will take Reliance stake to about 40.95%, and it will trigger an open offer for a further 26% stake of the company on a fully diluted basis. Assuming a full take-up in the open offer, Reliance would hold about 66.95% stake in the company post the transaction on a fully diluted basis. Reliance Retail Ventures Limited has already made an announcement for the open offer for a total consideration of approximately 2,222 crores. Current promoters shall hold a residual stake of about 10% as MD and CEO of the business. Coming to quarterly results, as we all know, the unexpected second wave of COVID-19 had a significant impact on the economy as a whole and SMEs in particular. Our operating revenue for the quarter stood at 165.4 crores, declining 5.8% quarter on quarter. With lockdown easing and impact of COVID-19 abating post the first wave, monetization had been on an improving trajectory until March 21. However, second wave restrictions impacted monetization during first quarter of fiscal 22 and collections declined about 29% sequentially. Monetization should likely recover here on with COVID second wave impact also reducing. As we had communicated earlier, we advertised during IPL 2021 to promote our newly launched B2B platform JD Mart. We spent about 50.5 crores on advertising and promotion during the quarter. The campaign has resulted in good branding and awareness about the platform. As a result of this lumpy expense booking during the quarter, we have incurred loss for the quarter. Adjusted EBITDA stood at a negative 10.4 crores. Other income was at normalized levels of 22.8 crores, and overall, we had a loss of about 3.5 crores at that level. Cash and investments stood at 1,533 crores as on 30th June. Coming to operational highlights, despite COVID impact, traffic witnessed only 3.9% sequential drop to 124.1 million unique users for first quarter. On JD Mart, we have already rolled out logistics services on our mobile site. Apps should follow shortly. In parallel, we are working to enable end-to-end transactions on JD Mart, under which a buyer can place order for products listed on JD Mart. Payment can be made in full or part. Payment shall be routed via JD Mart's payment escrow service mechanism. Seller can ship products via JD Mart's logistics service or even directly. And ultimately, seller shall receive payment upon delivery confirmation by the buyer. So with this brief, we shall now open the floor for questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We will now begin the question and answer session. Anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and one on the touchtone telephone. If you wish to remove yourself from the question queue, you may press star and 2. Participants are requested to use handsets while asking a question. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. The first question.
Yeah. So hi, this is Rishit. I'll go ahead with the first question as we see the Q&A queue assembling, right? So a couple of questions essentially from my side, right? One, if you could relate it to the transaction, if you could just talk about the synergies or the benefit that we'll have from the access to Reliance post this transaction. Is there a let's say 3 to 5 year strategy that we sort of embarked on before we went ahead with this transaction? That's one. Second, on margins, I think realizations again look much softer. Are we discounting again to retain customers? And if you can just provide a color on how do we see that trajectory inching up in the next couple of quarters?
Okay, so Rishit, on your first question on synergies, see at this point of time, we have entered into definite agreement. So the transaction will take some time to get concluded. There are multiple steps to the transaction. So I think once that happens, we have RRVL on our board. That is when we would be holding detailed discussions around potential synergies, etc., and we would be in a better position to elaborate on the same. On your second questions around the margin, so at this point of time, see, till March, things were on a, in fact, March we were at about 90% of pre-COVID levels. But the second wave obviously caught all of us off guard. So last particular quarter, not much about discounting, but definitely there were SMEs who, if renewals were due, they wanted to push those renewals out. High value SMEs would want to wait for their business to recover and then participate back. So yes, I mean, first quarter did have a impact on collections, but with second wave abating, likely things should improve here on. And as and when collections, etc., improve, both campaigns and realizations should be back on track.
Sure. Just on the first question, if I can probe a little more, we would have done some amount of due diligence, right, before we sort of thought about this transaction. I just wanted to get the initial thoughts and not like a detailed strategy. So that's one. And just follow-up that I had is that even after spending about 50 crores of ad spend, right, our traffic is largely similar on a QOQ basis. It's come down, right? If you can just provide a little more color on that, that'll be super helpful. Thank you.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, both parties would have engaged to figure out what all can be done. So over the last several years, we have created a great asset in terms of 30 million listings, the relationships with SMEs, and RRVL also wants to grow India's whatever SME ecosystem, digitalize SMEs, etc. So there could be multiple areas where synergies could exist. And sorry, what was the second part of the question?
Even after the ad spend of roughly about 50 crores, right? If you look at the overall traffic, it's still weak.
Correct. See, as far as advertising is concerned, a couple of things. One, there would never be a one-on-one correlation in terms of traffic and advertising. What this advertising has done is that today, if my sales personnel goes and meets any SME and talks about JD Mart, a good percentage of SMEs do know about JD Mart. That there was a campaign with Mr. Ranveer Singh as part of IPL. So as a result of all this, that conversation beginning becomes much easier. So all those things have long-term benefits and may not necessarily translate into traffic on a immediate basis.
Okay, understood. I'll come back in the queue.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Varun Goenka from Nippon India Asset Management Company.
So, congratulations for the transaction.
So there's a disturbance coming from your line, sir.
Yeah, so is my voice clear now?
Sir, I would request you to mute your line after your question so that the management can answer your question, sir.
Sure, sure. Right. So congratulations for this milestone. Definitely quite a. I wanted to understand, Reliance Retail is also infusing cash in Just Dial, even though it already has 1,500 crores. So post this, Just Dial will be holding substantial amount of cash. What is the thought in terms of what are the areas of investments that we are looking at? What are the product capabilities that we're looking to build, or how we're looking to further increase our distribution, etc.? Anything Abhishek could help.
So Varun, yes, we would be holding about 3,700 crore cash post this equity infusion. So there are multiple areas of investments. We want to roll out certain great products that we have built over last several years. There could be newer products that we could be working upon. There would be investments in technology, feet on street, online selling platform, etc. So in a nutshell, as I said, that at this point of time, while we have entered into these agreements, over the next few months is when we would be holding detailed discussions around this.
Sure. Right. I think then that leaves nothing more to. Right, I'll get back in the queue. Look forward to the next few months. Thank you so much.
Sure, thank you.
Thank you. Participants, to ask a question, you may press star and 1 now. The next question is from the line of Shyam Sundar Sriram from Sundaram Mutual Fund. Please go ahead.
Yeah. Hi, sir. Good evening. This is Shyam. Thanks for taking the question, sir. So my first question is just related to the prior question. So, with so much cash, are we eyeing any acquisition in this space, sir? Is it towards any inorganic route that we may take with this cash on our balance sheet per se, or do we want to continue to grow the JD Mart business organically? Any thoughts on that? And added to that, sir, from an acquirer perspective, how do you see what is the end goal of them for JD Mart? Do they see JD as a B2B vertical which complements their existing initiatives on the B2C side? What are your thoughts on that front? These are the two questions from the acquisition perspective. I have one more question. I'll come back after this.
So Shyam, on your first question.
Sorry to interrupt, Mr. Sriram. So there's a disturbance coming from your line. Request you to mute your line while the management answers your question.
So Shyam, on your first question regarding possible usage of cash, definitely we shall work to organically grow the business. At the same time, if there are any organic opportunities which could have synergies with Just Dial, we would be open to evaluating. As I mentioned, at this point of time, the focus would be to grow the business organically, be it Just Dial platform or JD Mart or any other newer initiatives. As far as acquirers' perspective is concerned, so as I mentioned earlier, there the key thought process is that Just Dial has created a great asset in terms of 30 million listings. JD Mart platform is also shaping up well. So this particular partnership, both companies do think that they can.
Mr. Sriram?
Yeah, I'm here.
Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. I think Yes, sir. I think we lost the last 10 seconds.
Yeah, so I was saying that from Aquarius perspective as well, they do believe that JD has a great asset in terms of 30 million listing base. JD Mart also is shaping up pretty well. So both companies would work to grow the SME ecosystem in India, digitalizing SMEs. And detailed plans around the same would be finalized over the next few months.
Okay, sir. That's good to hear. And my other question is on the employee headcount per se. Employee count has been coming off compared to the F21 or F20 levels therein. So why is that the case? Are we seeing a very gradual pickup in terms of the new subscriber addition, and hence we have proactively groomed our employee headcount? Any thoughts on that?
On employee headcount, as you would appreciate that this particular quarter, especially the months of April, May, right, all of us were scrambling, prioritizing safety of our employees. So we were not at all focused on, say, any incremental hiring, etc. So this is that in the month of June, we, as our routine exercise, had certain performance-related exits as well. So the thought process was that with this second wave hitting us hard, let us try to have as much automation in place at immediately replenishing whatever attrition, etc., is taking place. So going forward with this second wave impact abating, we would look to hire back the sales force that has gone down. Second, also explore ways of reaching SMEs online via direct online sales.
So your question is answered, Mr. Sriram.
Yes, sir. Sorry. So this is, I'm sorry, I was on mute. So this employee reduction is more of a natural attrition, and we have not replaced them. That is how.
Yeah, so this particular quarter, we did not go for any incremental hiring. Plus, there were certain performance-related exits as well. In future quarters, we should be back on track.
Sure, sir. Sir, on JD Mart, where are we now? Any metrics that you can share in terms of the paying subscribers who have come on board compared to from the launch time, or anything that you can share on the JD Mart side?
So JD Mart, on JD Mart, the first thing that we are doing is we are in the process of putting up a sales team. So some of those initiatives got delayed by a couple of months due to second wave impact. However, right now we are in the process of putting up a sales team for JD Mart. At the same time, on traffic side, pages are getting indexed as we speak. About 6.5-7 million pages have already been indexed. So broadly, work is happening both on ramping up traffic and subsequently monetization as well.
Sure, sir. Thank you. Thank you very much. I'll call back in.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Sudheer Guntupalli from ICICI Securities. Please go ahead.
Yeah. Hi, Abhishek. Good evening. Thanks for giving me the opportunity. First question from my side. We know that Mr. Mani and the management team imposes immense faith in the company and its forward-looking growth prospects. So in that backdrop, we would have loved to see any potential partnership, let's say from RIL side or any other prospective bidder side, to kind of shape up in the form of primary infusion of growth capital into the company. So just little curious as to why Mr. Mani decided to exit a significant part of his stake.
See, Sudhir, definitely there is a 2,000 crore plus primary infusion that is happening. So this transaction should be looked as a composite transaction, which has a primary component, which has a secondary component, and there is a open offer as well. And as far as exiting or not exiting at Mr. Mani's part is concerned, so he has put in 25 years building this particular business. even after this particular stake sale, he would be at close to 10%, which is a very decent stake. And both parties shall work to grow the business here on.
Sure, Abhishek. Extension of Rishit's earlier question, just a little curious on why is the transaction happening at Reliance Retail level and not at Jio Platforms level? Intuitively, one would have expected the transaction to happen at Jio Platforms level, right, for any synergies to materialize.
See, the entity is not that important. At the end of the day, it is the Reliance Group with which we are partnering. Since Reliance Retail is more closer to SMEs, that is why partnership with Reliance Retail.
So you are essentially saying that it's little fluid and it does not necessarily, just because the legal entity acquiring us is Reliance Retail, it does not necessarily stop us from, let's say, exploring any possible synergies with Jio Platform sort of a business.
So as I said, see, at the end of the day, we would continue to run as a independent listed company. And as far as the synergies are concerned, which could help us exploit the SME opportunity in India better, those could be with any of the RIL group companies.
Got it, Abhishek. Lastly, any thoughts on the branding of Just Dial and the application hosting of Just Dial? Will the branding of JD and JD Mart remain status quo, or will it change? Secondly, will the JD and JD Mart apps be hosted on a standalone basis, or it will be hosted on MyJio also going forward?
So as I said, see, at this point of time, likely branding will remain as it is. Business would be run the way it has been done so far, along with the possibilities of growing it further. And whether it will be part of MyJio platform, etc., those are the kind of synergies that over the next few months we will figure out. So whatever will be in the best interest of both parties, those steps will be taken.
Sure, Abhishek. Just one last question, if I may. As of now, there is no thought about delisting the company, I'm assuming, or is my assumption wrong?
No, there is no such thought.
Thanks, Abhishek. All the best.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Vivek Anand from Ambit Capital. Please go ahead.
Hi, am I audible?
Yes, Vivek, please go ahead.
Yeah. So, a bookkeeping question. Can you please help us with the split of the revenues and the campaign? That's question one.
So revenue and campaigns, broadly the split has been similar compared to previous quarters. Tier 2, Tier 3 about 35% on revenue contribution, about 55% on campaign contribution.
Okay. So second question is on the shareholders agreement that the three parties have signed, Just Dial, the family and Reliance Retail. If you could help us understand specifics of the governance on the use of cash, for example, dividend payouts, treasury practices, and decision making on outlay for new projects. Second thing is with respect to the board composition. What does the SHA mention? And thirdly, with respect to accounting for projects under development, right now, for example, we expense the entire amount of spends that we undertake on JD Mart. Will that practice remain? Because these are assets that may have future economic benefits, and therefore they can also be recorded as in the balance sheet, right? Thank you.
So Vivek, on your first question, usage of cash, management of treasury, dividend payouts, etc. So there aren't any specific covenants, etc., which determine the same. At the end of the day, Just Dial, its board will decide how to best deploy that particular capital for any organic, inorganic growth or any such opportunities. And same will hold true for management of treasury as well. So net, the existing management will continue to take decisions as it was happening earlier. On the board composition, definitely the understanding is that the acquirer will have sole control. So they will have their representatives on the board in line with whatever are the norms for board composition. And on your third question around accounting practices, so my understanding is that accounting is driven by Ind AS or the relevant accounting standards. There could be areas where you could actually take decisions basis how whether it can be capitalized or not. So I don't think so any of those decisions are dependent on the transaction. At the end of the day, the management, you have the statutory auditors, they will collectively go by whatever accounting standards say.
Yeah, just one small follow-up. So, Mr. Mani will be the only representative of the minority. I mean, currently we have one non-promoter but significant shareholder director and Mr. Mani's family members on the board. So how will that look like as far as the board composition goes?
So as far as board composition is concerned, Mr. Mani, since he will be the MD and CEO, he will definitely be part of the board. Rest of the board composition will be decided as and when this particular transaction progresses. There isn't any specific hard and fast governance to say that X members will be there or X members will not be there. Those particular details will be finalized as we go forward.
Right. All right. Thank you. Thank you very much. All the best.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Keshav Lahoti from Antique Stock Broking. Please go ahead.
Hi. Thank you for the opportunity. So I want to understand, as because of COVID, JD Mart, sort of is a bit delayed. So ideally, when should we, expect the monetization to play out for JD Mart? And how the monetization will play out?
So Keshav, on JD Mart, we are sort of clear that it's not that we want to rush into monetization. This particular platform is being built with the thought process that it should be the B2B platform for any Indian MSME over the next few years, which would, one, require traffic to be significantly ramped up. Second, on the monetization bit, we might want to offer 30-day, 60-day, 90-day free trial to SMEs. So that is how we want to approach it. As far as monetization, etc. is concerned, as I mentioned earlier during my initial remarks, that we are already in the process of putting a monetization team, but we are very clear that we want to have a great product in terms of the content should be very comprehensive. We want to have as many rich digital catalogs as possible. We want to give a flavor to SMEs so that they should perceive this particular platform as a great platform for their business. And then monetization will obviously pick up. So 1 or 2 quarters of early or delayed monetization doesn't matter much in the broader scheme of things.
All right. Sure. With Reliance coming on the board, someone like Reliance is known for aggressive nature. If we take something like Reliance Jio, so should the aggressiveness of JD Mart will more increase going forward? Any plans of increasing ad spend?
So with the primary infusion, definitely we would do whatever is needed to grow the business. Now, whether that will entail aggressive spends on advertising or aggressive spends on putting feet on street to make SMEs aware about the platform, etc. So all those we will sort of finalize over the next few months.
Okay. Thank you. That's it from my side.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Abhilasha Stale from Dalal & Broacha. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hello. Thank you for giving me opportunity. I have a question on advertisement spend. So during the quarter, it has increased substantially because of the advertising during the IPL. So going forward, how do we see our advertisement spend for the rest of the year? Our quarterly run rate has been in the range of 20 to 25 crores. This quarter it has been higher. So is it like most of it we have spent additional, because we were saying that 200 crores over next 2 years. So how much will be there additional for the rest of the year? This is the first question.
So Abhilasha, on ad spend that we had communicated during our previous earnings call, that FY20 we had spent about 65 crores. FY21 we hardly spent about 3-4 crores. And FY22 we had budgeted about double of FY20, so about 120-130 crores. So first quarter we have already spent about 50 crores. We have the original plan, we could spend another 70-80 crores for the rest of the year. Having said that, at this point of time, over next few months we shall be chalking out, reworking on our strategy, and basis that if any ad spends need to increase or decrease, those tweaks will be done.
Okay. Yeah. And how is the response, post our advertisement? Because most of the advertisement has been spent on the JD Mart awareness. In the last call, we had mentioned that downloads had increased to around 15 to 20,000 per day. So how is it? How is the situation currently? And with second wave receding, how much confident we are going back to the active customer base of 5 lakh plus over say over how many quarters do we see having that?
See, on response for JD Mart, one way by which we evaluate is responsiveness of customers when it comes to creation of digital catalogs. So that response has been pretty good. Incrementally, it has become easier for our teams or our outsourced vendors to be able to create those catalogs, because vendors are aware that this is the new B2B marketplace that has come up. So that way, the response I would attribute it to be quite well. On your second question around by when we would reach 5 lakh plus campaigns, see, as I mentioned, so things were on a recovering trajectory till March, and since a good percentage of our revenue comes from B2C segment SMEs, which were severely impacted both in the first and second wave of COVID, it is becoming a bit unpredictable. So hopefully, if there isn't further adverse impact due to subsequent COVID waves, recovery should relatively be faster this time around. But we are assessing the situation on a monthly basis. So post second wave, post April and May, things are recovering. So I think next couple of months will give better clarity on by when overall monetization and subsequently campaigns could pick up to pre-COVID levels.
Thank you and all the best.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Abhishek Bhandari from Macquarie. Please go ahead.
Hi, thank you. Congrats Abhishek, congrats Manish is on the call. I think the deal vindicates last 2.5 decades of hard work. So Abhishek, I had a couple of questions. First, if you could give the timeline of the closure of deal and the way the pricing was arrived at, what the 1,020 rupees, how did you arrive at that price?
So firstly, on the timelines, we shall be holding EGM sometime in mid-August, and post shareholders approval, the primary tranche should get closed sometime in August end. Then as far as open offer timelines are concerned, open offer will take probably another 1 month, 1.5 months to close. And as far as pricing is concerned, the secondary tranche was obviously negotiated between the promoters and the acquirer. And as far as preferential issue and open offer pricing is concerned, that was basis SEBI's ICDR regulations, which govern both preferential pricing as well as open offer pricing.
So there's a set formula which gives a floor price. This is average price for last 2 weeks, 26 weeks, 60 days, etc. Basis that there was a floor price, and the set price is higher than that particular floor price.
The reason for asking this question, Abhishek, is that ideally, in such a large takeover scenario where the Reliance Group practically will be owning majority stake, shareholders would have assumed a controlling premium, prevailing to the current market price. So I was curious, what made Mr. Money, offer that at a discount and do the transaction.
See, one cannot look at pricing just from a very recent share price perspective. So one way to look at it could be that share price is currently at, say, 5-year high. In last 1.5 years, not just for us, across companies, we have seen valuations swinging a lot. So the thought process of the board, the company promoters was simply that whether the valuation is reasonable enough and whether this particular strategic partnership makes sense, and basis that they decided to go ahead with it.
Sure, got it. My second question, Abhishek, is that in the past you guys have been known to be very frugal with cash, and that probably reflected in you conserving cash and not really chasing growth. In terms of traffic. Is it fair to assume that that strategy might change, given that, I would presume that broadly speaking on the tech side, your investment seems to have been done. So unless you're going to, acquire something big. So is it fair to assume that, the bulk of this 3,700 crore on the cash post-August, would be used in chasing growth and delaying the monetization of some of the new initiatives?
So Abhishek, I don't think so it would be correct to say that we were frugal to the extent of sacrificing growth. We were always clear that we don't want to spend 2 rupees to get 1 rupee revenue. So we were always adverse to giving cashback discounts, which we felt were just instant gratification tools and were possibly not going to result in those users sticking for long term, etc. So going forward, obviously, we will do whatever is needed to grow the company. Just throwing cash possibly is not the right strategy. But there are several other ways of growing the business. For example, you can invest in your product and technology. Once you have a great product, you can obviously invest on advertising. You can invest on monetization in your sales team, feet on street, customer support. So there are multiple avenues to do that.
Got it. And Abhishek, my last question is, throughout the call you have been mentioning B2B, platform being the primary focus of the transaction. I heard that phrase the most. So is it fair to assume that, JD, with your B2C platform or your, the other platforms like JD Expert, JD Omni, start taking the backseat and the focus becomes JD Mart, or is it just you spoke about it because questions are more around it? I mean, I'm just trying to understand, which products of yours will become incrementally more in focus, given that most of the other ones actually are in very nascent stage.
So no, so from my end, I did not specifically say that B2B is in focus. Probably it is a coincidence that since questions were centered around B2B, that is how the impression went. From our perspective, we are very clear that it is overall Just Dial that has to grow, both the B2C side and B2B side. B2C side would entail rollout of products which would be, say, transaction-centric. Then we have created this JD Omni platform over last several years, which we believe that can do wonders in terms of digitalizing India's SMEs. And at the same time, we have created this parallel B2B platform. Probably because JD Mart is now launched, that is why the focus on JD Mart is higher. But internally, we are clear that there will be separate teams working on each of these separate products.
Okay, got it, Abhishek, and look forward to more details in coming months. Thank you.
Sure, thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Mohit Motwani from HDFC. Please go ahead.
Hi, Abhishek. Good evening. Thank you for the opportunity. So my question was on the sales trend, which has come down. So I see that since Q3 of 21, right? So we have been trending down the sales trend significantly. So is this also, the reason for this is also the same as employee headcount, that there's attrition and performance-related exits, or is something else? Because with your high advertising spends, I believe that you want to go aggressive on acquiring customers, right? So can you give some thoughts on why the sales trend has come down drastically?
So Mohit, that was the thought process up until February, March. We wanted to aggressively ramp up our sales team in April, May. However, end of March or beginning April onwards, the second wave hit us extremely hard. So at that point of time, we said that it doesn't make sense to just push hiring. So let us prioritize safety of our employees. Secondly, since business or monetization was adversely impacted, we said that, okay, let us again work towards bringing in efficiencies. So all of that has been done. So going forward, we would work to grow sales team for Just Dial, as well as I mentioned earlier, we are putting up sales team for JD Mart as well.
Got it. So I understand that going forward, you will be having more of incremental hiring on the sales strength side, right? So as to push your offerings on JD Mart as
well. Yeah, so our hiring requirements are more on sales side. Even on the sales side, we are working on how we can get part of our revenue directly online instead of just depending on sales-assisted monetization. And for rest of the departments, yes, there could be certain hiring if need be on the technology content side. But yeah, bulk of the requirements are likely to be on sales and monetization side.
Got it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. We would like to remind participants that you may press *1 to ask a question. Participants, to ask a question, you may press *1 now. The next question is from the line of Vijit Jain from Citibank. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi. Thanks for the opportunity and congratulations on the deal, Abhishek. Abhishek, I just have one question remaining. When looking at your sales staff and the feet on street, do you think that strength that you have, those 4,000 odd people on the feet on street side, is that something that can be leveraged by Reliance to sell some of their other offerings to MSMEs directly? Should we think of them as relationship managers or not?
So at this point of time, honestly, nothing of that has been thought through. So any kind of synergies would be up for exploration, which could help Just Dial, which could help RRVL. So specifically whether our feet on street can be leveraged or not, there hasn't been any specific thought around the same.
Just looking at JD Mart, and I know you already clarified on the monetization plan, long term, medium term, etc. I'm just wondering, over the next quarter or so, in terms of investment focus in JD Mart, is that going to be largely on hiring new salespeople, or is there more technology, product development, and leadership recruitment plans also in the works there?
So both would be in focus. Investments to improve the product further. So as I mentioned, on JD Mart, we have already taken logistics services live on our mobile platform. We are also working to enable transactions on JD Mart. So whatever investments are needed to enable that, all those will be done. As far as JD Mart monetization team is concerned, that monetization team in the initial months shall also assist us with the content. So at the end of the day, these platforms, if you have a great content will drive traffic, and traffic will ultimately drive monetization. So Product building as well as content will be first area of focus. That should naturally result into traffic flowing in, which would ultimately lead to better monetization.
Okay. And sorry, Abhishek, just one final question. Just thinking about this balance between traffic and monetization. I know that within the B2B category, there can be a bit of an overlap between both buyers and sellers. But just trying to understand how does that work in terms of balance? As in, you get a lot of traffic, say, from advertisement efforts, but a lot of listings on your platform are not paid for, right? So is it that you still send those leads in the direction of those customers, and then some months down the line you can point to them? Is that how you're thinking about it by and large?
See, we already are monetizing from B2B customers on our JD platform. So those customers, if they have created digital catalogs, their products would get preference in search results. So they will be the first set of beneficiaries. So our existing customers, we want to ensure that they get even better value for money for the spends that we have done, so that next time whenever their renewals are due, we can rightfully ask for a higher amount. And then some of the leads shall also be passed on to quality vendors who have created rich catalogs, though they might not be paying. And then over a period of time, once you know that these vendors are getting response from your platform, you can obviously get those vendors to pay a certain amount to continue getting those leads from the platform.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, those are my questions. Thank you so much, Abhishek.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Pranav Kshatriya from Edelweiss. Please go ahead.
Thanks for the opportunity. My first question is regarding this JD Mart platform. Can you share how much is the traffic on JD Mart platform currently?
So Pranav, traffic related stat, I think we would wait for maybe 1 or 2 quarters. Once we have decent traffic flowing in from Google, which would be a core source of traffic, it will be better to share specific metrics at that point of time.
Any statistics which you can share, let's say, the number of listings on the platform, number of photographs, which is competition, to basically assess that, where we are versus the competition, because, one needs to be at least, at least at par, if not better, to really drive the traffic and the monetization.
So from our platform perspective, what I can mention is that platform has about 30 million products, out of which about 1/3 plus are unique in nature. In terms of digital catalogs, we have rich catalogs for about 500 to 600,000 businesses, semi-rich catalogs for over 1 million such listings. So on the content side, the platform has shaped up pretty well.
Okay. And second question is on, if I add up the stake, I think, Mr. Mani and the Reliance Group as a whole, I think, they'll end up holding almost 80% of the stake. So is it possible that somebody will have to sell the stake and, Mr. Mani will further dilute by 5% from his holding, because promoter holding has to be 75%?
So, assuming full take-up in open offer, the total stake of promoter would likely go to around 77.5% or so. So yes, it could be 2.5% higher versus 75%. But we shall evaluate in that particular scenario that which party actually sells to bring down the stake and over what time frame.
And Mr. Mani, I understand that he'll be the managing director and the CEO, but will he also be the chairman of the board, or there'll be somebody else who will be the chairman?
So even presently, the chairman of the board is Mr. B. Anand, who is one of the independent directors. So we will decide on in discussion with the acquirer that what exactly will be the board composition. At the end of the day, board collectively takes decision, and it will be a completely professional board as it has been today.
Good. My last question is regarding, on the cost side. So if you look at, till last year, we were giving almost 100% of the free cash flow generated back to the shareholder because we ascertained that there is no need for capital. And I believe that then also you had this JD Mart platform, which was, in the works, and even the JD Expert and other platforms were in the works. So it's what exactly, is changing where this incremental 2,000 crore rupees is likely to be deployed, so how should we see this money getting spent in next few years for the growth of this platform?
So Pranav, unfortunately for this question, you will have to wait for a few months. As I mentioned earlier that the transaction has just been announced. Definite agreements have been entered into. Usage of cash, what all products will be focused on, which are the ones which will be aggressively pursued. So we will decide over the next few months as and when we have the acquirer on our board. That is when we would be able to articulate this better.
Okay. Thank you so much and all the very best. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Shivakumar from Unifi Capital. Please go ahead.
Hello. My query has been answered. Thank you.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, this was the last question for today. I would now like to hand the conference over to Mr. Abhishek Bansal for closing comments.
Thank you everyone for joining us. In case you have any further queries, please do reach out. We would do our best to address. That's it from my side. Thank you.
Thank you. On behalf of Nomura Financial Advisory and Securities, that concludes this conference. Thank you for joining us, and you may now disconnect your lines.